Thank you everyone for joining us today to our special Mother's Day webinar with YouTube content creator Marina Esiri called Finding Career Success as a Canadian Newcomer. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please throw them in the chat or the Q&A section. If you just put your mouse, scroll it down, you should see those at the bottom of your screen, and we will answer your questions at the end of the presentation, okay? We also have a webinar you'll be prompted to take, or sorry, a survey. You'll be prompted to take our survey after closing this webinar. Alternatively, you can also visit our website to give us feedback. We always appreciate learning how we can make our webinars and content better for you guys. Okay, so who is here today? So hello, welcome. My name is Candice Fox, and I am the Outreach Consultant for Career Loans here in Saskatchewan. And I will be joined here momentarily by Marina Esiri, who is a newcomer here in Saskatchewan. And many of you will know her from her YouTube channel, where she shares lots of great content and information about her life here in Canada. So we'll be learning about Marina here in a little bit, but we do have a video on career loans.
I'm Rianne Mendoza, and I came to Canada from the Philippines last year in November.
Hello, my name is Ifoma. I came to Canada June 2019.
My desired occupation in Canada is a privacy lawyer.
And my desire is to work as a medical doctor in Canada. The major challenge that I was facing was financial.
I don't have the sufficient resources in order for me to enroll.
I used part of the money that I got from career loans to register for the first part of the exam.
I was able to enroll in the training programs to becoming a privacy professional,
To buy a mini laptop that I would use to prepare for the exams.
to purchase all the required texts,
Ever since I applied to career loans, I can say that my career outlook is definitely brighter.
I will also be getting my certification for Asia.
Because I've gotten the assistance that I needed. I've been able to register for the exams.
I am now more prepared to become a privacy professional in Canada.
Things are looking brighter. Yeah, I just feel like, I'm getting closer to my goal.
And thanks to career loans, I am now more confident and in my way towards my journey of becoming a privacy professional here in Canada.
Today's schedule. So I'm going to introduce Marina here in just a little bit. I'm going to have a fireside chat with Marina, although there's no fire. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about how career loans can help. We'll go through the Q&A session, and then we just have some housekeeping items to wrap up with everyone. Okay, so Marina Ayemi Atang is a Nigerian-born Canadian residing here in Saskatoon. While she holds a degree in microbiology, she has gone on to pursue a career in human resources and is currently a human resource professional with one of Saskatchewan's leading employers. She has a diploma in administration from the Saskatoon Business College here in Saskatoon, and is currently taking courses towards her Chartered Professional Human Resources certification. She is a wife. Marina is a mom of 2 beautiful kids. Many of us know her as a YouTube sensation. She creates YouTube content around her information around settling in her life here in Canada. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Marina and we'll put her in the hot seat. Hey, Marina.
Hi, Candice.
Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
I'm glad to be here. I heard hot seats.
I
Feels
know.
very different to be the one on the receiving end this time.
I know. I promise it'll be painless. It'll be painless.
Okay. Fingers crossed.
Tell us just a little bit about your decision to move to Canada and what that journey looked like for you.
Oh, so like from my bio, I was born in Nigeria and I lived in Nigeria up till about 5 years ago when we decided to move here. It was a bit of a difficult decision. It was a bit of, my husband had a hard time convincing me to just pick up our lives and move to like a new country. The first time he brought it up, I looked at him like, are you okay? Should I call the doctor? Like, I'm just going to get up and live the life that I know and go to this strange place. What are you on about? You know, but from time to as the years went by, it took years, really. The first time we had the conversation was maybe like in 2012, but we eventually decided to take the plunge in 2014 and put in the application. The application process was a major test of patience because when we applied, it was a bit of a manual process where you send in paper documentation, and Canada is far from everywhere. So you send in an application before the application even gets there. It's been a couple of weeks, you know. So that was the first test of patience in the entire process, the application process in itself. And then eventually we got the permanent resident visa in 2016 and we landed in May of 2016. The decision to move was mainly out of curiosity, just trying to see how life would be like if you're living in a different place, like learn a new culture, learn new perspectives, new ways of living, and just to see like if there's an opportunity for us as professionals to be able to live and work in a different country, why not? And because we're eligible, of course, we decided to take the plunge. So yeah, 5 years on, that's how we got here.
And so what was that conversation like with your kids, right? Because you and your husband are having this conversation. When did you sort of bring them into the fold and say like, hey, this is actually going to happen?
We kind of didn't ask them. Very rude. Mainly because my children were young. My son was 3, my daughter was 2. They barely understood what was going on. I remember the first few weeks after we'd moved here, and one day my son came to me and said, Mom, when are we going to go home? So I said, actually, this is home. I'm like, no, like, I want to go home, right? So it took a while. It's when we got here, we now started to explain that actually we're not on holiday. You're going to have a new school. You're going to have new friends. We had to put in the extra effort to try to keep in touch with their friends back in Nigeria, had like a number of video conversations. So it took a while before he came to terms with the fact that, okay, this is home now. And I remember we moved from one home to the other, and then his own way of coming to terms with things will be our former house is Nigeria and our new house is Canada, but they've settled in very well right now. So they understand now that this is home.
What has been maybe the most rewarding or most surprising part of starting a new life basically across from where you used to live in Nigeria?
The most surprising.
Aside from our winter.
Thank you for putting that out there, because I was just going to mention that the prairie winters will humble you, right? Regardless of where you're coming from. I've seen winter make grown men cry. So yeah, it can't get that brutal. The most surprising part, I would say the people. I don't know what expectations I had when I was coming here. I had zero expectation. Like I had not visited before where it would be like, okay, I have an impression of what Canada is like. I know what to expect. It was like a blank canvas. So coming here and meeting people who wore shorts in -15 degrees, I'm like, you can't be serious. Like I'm freezing, I have a sweater, why? And you hear people say, oh, such a beautiful, oh, I forgot, Candice, I'm not supposed to talk about the weather, okay?
Oh.
So the first part will be the people. People are generally very, very kind in Saskatchewan. Like people smile at you, people hold the door, people are very helpful and very forthcoming with information. If you as much as stop to ask, there's somebody who's willing to provide information. So I'll say that has been a pleasant surprise, and it has made settling in easy for us, relatively easy, because you know that you would never be alone. Even if you're lost, you can always ask somebody, like, how do I get from point A to point B? And somebody's almost always willing to provide that information. So I would say that that part has been a pleasant surprise, the kind people and the very helpful people that I've met here.
Good. And just to be clear, I am still shocked when I see people outside in like -2 wearing shorts and sandals. So
Right?
That's not a newcomer thing. That's just a like climatization. I'm not there yet either, and I've been born and raised here. So yeah, no, we're on the same page with that. You juggle like so many things, and even in our communication, I can feel your schedule. I feel like sometimes I can feel how busy you are. So how do you juggle and manage like being a mom, being a wife, creating YouTube content, work, school? Like how do you manage it all?
Oh, that part.
Did I just overwhelm you?
Just, sometimes you don't really realize how much you're doing until you hear somebody repeat it to you. Like just listening, like, how does one person do all of that really? Yeah. It's a lot. I'm going to be honest, it's a lot. And aside the fact that I have an amazing support system, like I've been able to recreate a support system where I have people who are just excited to see me succeed. I'm surrounded by people who are rooting for me. And for me, that vote of confidence, I use it as a motivation to spring myself, to say, so many people believe in me, I cannot afford to disappoint that. And beyond just believing in me, these people are on hand to step in when I need help. I've had friends just come over and take my kids away for the weekend just so I can get a breather. My spouse is super supportive. Like there are times where maybe when I have exams or I have assessments at school, which is every week these days, there are times where he steps up to be mom and dad for me. There are times where I have appointments I'm supposed to take the kids to, and last minute something comes up and immediately he steps up to do those things for me. So I'm surrounded by people who are very helpful. And beyond that, I have learned how to be gracious with myself. I've learned how to be realistic in the expectations that I have of myself. I'm reminded that to everybody else, you hear, oh, superwoman or supermom. Honestly, I think that's a myth, because for me, maybe me, I don't consider myself super mom, because I find that it's an extra layer of pressure that's just on me to live up to expectations that are not always realistic. I heard a story once that I think has really influenced how I'm looking at things these days, and it's the analogy of the glass and the rubber balls. As a mom, I'm juggling so many things, like you have mentioned, and I consider those things I'm juggling glass and rubber balls. At different times, you would have to know what is your glass ball and what is the rubber ball. The glass ball in that moment would be those things that you cannot allow to drop, those things that cannot wait. So there are times where my children are my glass ball, so every other thing has to wait. Work has to wait, school has to wait, YouTube has to wait. Some other times it's work that's my glass ball. It's work I have to focus on. My children can wait, they'll be fine. So just understanding per time, what is my glass ball? What can I not afford to drop in this moment is what has helped me to balance out the roles that I have to take on and manage the expectations for myself. There have been times where my kids were sick, work had to wait. I immediately stepped out, had to go get my kids. There are other times where my kids are going to have presentations where they just put their hand in paint and paste it on paper. Can I really step out of a work presentation to watch my kids color? Can that wait? In that moment, my kids had to be the rubber balls and work had to take front space, right? So just understanding per time, every time I sit down, what is my glass ball right now? And that's what I focus my energy on. It has helped me to balance things out and just manage the expectations of myself. The day I can't fix proper dinner, my children are going to have bread and jam jam for dinner, and that's okay. Nobody died from just having bread and jam for dinner, right? So I've learned how to be gracious and manage the expectations of myself.
I love that, because I think that's something that needs to be echoed to all women and all moms, because I think that there is that expectation that you have to be perfect or the perfect mom. And,
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
people would be mortified if they saw, leftovers being warm, for supper and stuff like that. And it's just like, just be
Yeah.
okay with the mess in the kitchen, be okay
Absolutely,
with all of
Candice.
it.
I have learned that I had to come to terms with the fact that a sink that is full of dirty dishes has killed absolutely no one. We'll be
Yes,
fine.
I love that. That should be a quote on someplace. We'll make that a meme. I'm going to quote
Okay.
that. I'll quote that. You said that. You have over 10K followers on YouTube. What was your reaction when you began to see thousands of people tuning into your content? And what was, I guess, your initial plan or goal in going on YouTube?
Okay, so with my first job, when I came to Canada in 2016, I had a hard time finding a job. I couldn't get a job because of some disparity between my previous education. I have a microbiology degree, but all the work experience and work experience I've had has been in customer service, administration, and human resources. A Nigerian employer understands that. They understand that you can have a science degree and then learn on the job and do something completely unrelated. But I had a hard time explaining that to Canadian employers. There was that gap. So I had to go back to school. It was tough because I was listening to the video you played earlier and I heard people talk about not having the resources to go back to school as a newcomer. I was in that exact position. And thankfully, I was able to access a loan from an organization similar to what you're doing, which made me smile a lot, just knowing that more people have access to these resources. Absolutely amazing. So I went back to school, did 9 months, 23 courses, intense program. After I finished the program, my results were very good, and the school offered me a job. So I transitioned from student to staff in the same institution. And part of my job was meeting newcomers and setting up appointments for them to come into the school, talk to a counselor to decide which program would be best suited for their goals. And the first thing I would notice when newcomers were coming would be the fear, the anxiety, the confusion. I immediately recognized it because I'd been there. I'd been that person confused in this new country, not knowing what my career was going to look like. So I started to meet these people, and a number of them just wanted to go to school without a plan. Like, that's what everybody's doing. That's what I was told newcomers do. I was told I can't get a job. There was I could touch that. Not enough thought had been put into some of the decisions. Not enough planning had gone into, like, have you thought about the fact that you're going to be borrowing money to go back to school? Like, you cannot afford to be that much in debt without a plan. I used to meet people like that and it would bother me. Like, I can't say anything because on the job, I'm not the counselor. I can't go behind the counselor to tell them, no, don't do it. So I thought, the best way to do it would be to find a common platform where I can share my experiences and share my mistakes and use that to help other people to prevent the same mistakes. So that was kind of like the idea behind YouTube. And it was also supposed to be like a hideout, like a safe place for me. Like, if nobody ever watches this, it will become my e-journal. I'll just put these things out there and be able to refer to it years later to say, okay, this is where my head was at that time. So it began to shock me when after like a couple of months, you hear people who have been on YouTube say, sometimes it can take between 12 to 18 months for you to get to like 1,000 subscribers. And you can imagine my shock when we did that in like 4 months. I'm like, wait, what? People really are listening to this? People are watching me? At first, I used to bully my friends and family. Like, are you subscribed to my channel? If you have more than one Gmail account, you're definitely subscribing with all of them. So that responsibility was on me in the beginning. But I found out that in my comment section, it was no longer my friends and family. Like, I started to see random names, people I didn't know. It now told me that, okay, this reach has gone beyond just my friend and my friends and family. And it just kept growing and kept growing and kept growing. I woke up one day, it was 5,000. I woke up one day, it was 7,000. And then sometime in January, I was going to be on an event with the Saskatchewan Open Door Society, and I mentioned to them that I was on YouTube and this is what I was doing. And oh my goodness, everything exploded right before my eyes. Before I knew it, I was on radio, I was on CBC, I was on CTV News, and the mayor mentioned my channel on Twitter. I'm like, oh my God, somebody pinch me. Like in January, it was 7,000, and right now we're approaching 12,000. I'm like, this is amazing, just
Yeah.
to know that people trust me enough to believe the things I say, not just believe them and run with them. I think the most humbling part of all of this for me is the feedback that I get
Yeah.
when people email me and say, hey, Marina, I watched a video you said about this, I tried this and I got the job. Like, I followed the information you gave on how to apply to Canadian universities and I got admission from 4 universities. Now I don't know which one to choose, you know? It's just so humbling. It's humbling and scary at the same time, because now I'm reminded to be very careful what I say, because people are literally going to run with it. So if it's not true, don't put it out there. If it's a joke, say it's a joke. And then another thing, I have to remember that my audience is no longer Nigerians alone, because I thought that's where my primary target would be. But now I look on the back end on YouTube and I see that people are watching my videos from over 70 countries. Some countries I may
Wow.
never visit, but there are people watching me from there. Absolutely humbling. Like, I don't think I can get used to that. And honestly, my subscribers are the best. Like, they support me so much. I feel like I have a virtual family now. Recently, I put out a video where it was just one of those days where I was completely exhausted. Like, I'd been stretched thin. I wasn't feeling well with school. The deadlines were unending. And I was going to cancel the video for that week. But a friend of mine was like, no, don't do that. Talk to your people about how you're feeling. They're your friends. They're your family. And I came out and put up that video and said, hey guys, I'm struggling. And oh my goodness, the support, the encouragement. I got tons and tons of emails and DMs. There were people who were just emailing to check up on me every day, to say, I'm going to do a check-in every day to make sure you're fine. Just knowing that I have that much support from people that I don't know, like, very humbling, totally humbling experience.
Well, I know when I first was introduced to your videos, I mean, your authenticity just sort of bleeds through the screen. And then when I shared it with the rest of the Career Loans team, I think we all agreed that, yeah, you can feel your enthusiasm and your integrity, your honesty. And so, yeah, it's been great to sort of get to know you through your videos. What has been the biggest shock, do you think, for you, just so like over COVID? Because, you know, people are sort of still coming to this country. They're probably feeling isolated. They connect with you. What has been the biggest shock probably in the past year for you?
COVID has been like an extra layer of stress for everybody, like newcomers, the people who have been here 10 years, the people who were born here. Like, a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people are struggling. And you know, you just never know what you're capable of. You never know how strong you are until being strong is your only option. You know, for me at the beginning, when all of this started, it was almost like I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we'll be done. I remember carrying my laptop out of the office and they say, you're now going to be working remotely. I'm like, okay, I don't need to take everything. We'll be back soon. Be back soon. It's more than 12 months. Like, amazing how much adjustments we've had to do over the last 12 months. And when I look at all of it and think about where I was in March of 2020, when we all just shut down, and where we are right now, it's resilience that I didn't know I was capable of. I didn't know I was capable of working at home and being a teacher at the same time. Like, when you don't have options, the strength comes from somewhere, you know. But just being able to go back and depend on the support system that I've built is one big part. And for the people who watch my videos, I'm very, very big on newcomers not isolating themselves, newcomers not shutting everybody else out, because you're going to be in situations where you need that extra support from somebody else. You need that extra support, especially from people who can relate with the experiences that you have had. So networking is key. It is important for you to try to reach out and build relationships with people for situations like this. COVID has just been the root shocker. Like, everybody got shocked at the same time, and our support system became like our primary source of succor. Some days you depend on them, some days they depend on you. So imagine what it would be like if you're alone and you have nowhere to go Like it can be a lot. Like moving from one country to the other, even without COVID, it's a lot of work. It's a lot
Yes.
of mental adjustment. It's a lot of the loneliness that can come with it in the early days. First of all, is enough to paralyze anybody. Then to add COVID, where you are mandated to be isolated, it can be a lot, So that support system, the extras that our friends and the people around us bring, we cannot underestimate it. So very important to have a support system. COVID was just the rude reminder.
I love what you said about, like the support system and also sort of learning about yourself, because I think this has been an opportunity. You brought up the word resilience, in which we've all really had to like dig deep inside of us and find that resilience to keep going.
Absolutely.
What have you learned about yourself in the past, in the past, 5 years since being here, but also just in the past year, over COVID?
Oh, over COVID, one thing I learned about myself is that I can make a mean banana bread. One time, we all had to find our inner, where the whole world was baking. We couldn't find flour anywhere. We couldn't find yeast anywhere. Everybody was baking up a storm. So yeah, I had to learn how to bake banana bread, join the crew. But what else would I say I found about myself over the last 5 years? It brings me back to resilience, Candice.
Yeah.
The truth is, like I said, it was hard getting me to leave home, right? Yeah. And in walking away from everything that I knew that the responsibility was on me to make that move worth it. Canada is a place where opportunities are available to everybody, but nobody is going to serve the opportunities to you. You will have to do the work to be able to access the resources that are available, So I knew that a move like that, it had to be worth it. Like I cannot give up years of my life, give up the support system that I'm familiar with to come here and not push myself to be the best that I can be. And going to school in those difficult situations, the harsh weather conditions, going to school in like minus 50 degrees with children who were 3 and 2 years old at that time. Here I was trying to adjust to understand this new life that I was now living, and I had to be tossed into classroom learning almost 10 years after graduating from university. It was hands down the most difficult thing that I've had to deal with. And on top of that, I had to borrow the money to go to school. So here I was in this new country, already $10,000 in debt as the start of my new life. It was tough, but for me, I knew that the responsibility to turn that situation into something positive was up to me. And that's what I did. Like I pushed myself in the program. I did not know that I was capable of the strength that I experienced in that period. So you can imagine how it was taking 23 courses in the space of 9 months and finishing the course, looking at all my grades, and the lowest score that I had out of 23 courses was 91%, lowest score. I graduated with an overall average of almost 97%.
Yes.
So just having to see the school, I was in the papers for that. Like I got published in the papers, I got a check, I got a certificate, just celebrating that. Yeah. And on top of that, the school offered me a job. That to me is like my true picture of you can do anything if you set your heart to it. The picture of resilience, the drive. You chart the course, like how you turn out. To a large extent, you are in the driver's seat of how you turn out. So in this new country, the new country is not going to adjust to you. You are the one who's going to have to adjust to what is obtainable here. And how much you succeed or how much you fail totally depends on you. So for me, that's how I'm able to survive these days. I think about what it was like in 2017 when I graduated. How did that feel when you had that kind of result? Can you do that again? If you could do it before, you can do it again. So I use that as push right now to push myself. So just the resilience, just being able to tap into strengths that I know I'm capable of accessing is how I get going. Like that's how I push myself.
And you have a cheer squad, obviously, in multiple countries. So
I do now.
Isn't that amazing?
That's kind of another layer of pressure, because I can't come out to say I failed, right? Another reason why I need to pass.
But I think too, like the honesty that you have around, your life and, you're being very transparent. I think people can appreciate that because they can relate to that. There are lots of newcomers who are in similar situations or have just landed here, and they watch your videos, and maybe for them, that's their motivator, that's their driver. You've had that sort of internal fire burning, but you're being able to share that with the rest of the world. And with Mother's Day fast approaching, what do you want to say to newcomer moms who maybe have just arrived with their families in tow and might be feeling overwhelmed right now?
Oh my goodness, girl, breathe. Just breathe.
Yeah.
Breathe. Honestly, take a step back and breathe. Take it from one mom who has been overwhelmed, still overwhelmed, will be overwhelmed tomorrow, but right now, right here, just breathe. Be gracious with yourself. Be gracious. Manage the expectations. I'm an African woman. I was born and raised in Nigeria, and the burden that is on the average Nigerian woman to be perfect is insane, So it's almost like it stands in the way of you asking for help because it makes you less woman if you do. But here I am sitting down here today, been there, done that, and I tell you, no, it is absolutely okay, 100% okay to ask for help. Nobody gets any award for being the most stressed mom. So if you need to ask for help, absolutely ask for help. But be realistic in the expectations that you have of yourself. Moving from one country to the other already has the potential. Even if everything works for you perfectly from day one, you will still experience the challenges of walking away from your primary support system. The loneliness, the confusion, the not knowing, depending on other people to get around, or when you want to go somewhere, you don't know where it is, you have to ask people, that can take a toll. So to add the stress of the struggles that you might face, the curveballs that would definitely come, everybody has that story. So from the get-go, please be realistic with yourself, manage the expectations, be gracious with yourself, allow yourself room to fail, allow yourself room to be human, allow yourself room to not just want to do anything. It is absolutely okay to admit that you're not okay. It's absolutely okay. And that's where a support system comes in. I will still always go back to that because I know that that's how I'm here. That's how I'm still sane, the support system that I have around me. So breathe. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. Like, thank goodness, one good part of COVID is that nobody's visiting you. So nobody's going to judge you that your house has not been cleaned. Nobody's going to know that you have a sink full of dirty dishes. Nobody would die. So calm down, just breathe and be realistic with yourself. You are going to be okay. I know that because I've been there and I'm fine. You'll be fine too.
And a note for fathers and husbands, you have a very supportive husband in your life, and so we don't want to leave him out. Applause to him for supporting you. Was it a shock to him? Has he been like, oh my goodness, I can't believe my wife is this YouTube sensation? How has he sort of been handling this?
Well, he's not allowed to be a fan. That's one of the few places where I still feel normal. So no, when we go out and he went out somewhere recently and somebody recognized him from the video and said, hey, I watch your wife. And he came back and he's like, I saw some of your fans outside, they recognized me. So that's allowed to happen outside our house, but inside this house, we're all going to remain normal. Like YouTube is just another platform, but here and now, I will always remain, that's my wife. But my husband is super proud. He's very proud. The adjustments have been a lot for him as well, because part of what we show in the videos is also to manage the expectations and do like a call to action to our men, just to let you know that you're not in the same place anymore and there are adjustments that are needed from you. Because when we were in Nigeria, I had 2 living help who would take care of everything domestic chores. But coming here where there's no help, it's not realistic to expect that I would go to work, we both go to work and I come back and I have to assume 100% of domestic responsibilities, right? You had to take a conversation to say, hey, we're both going to have to make adjustments here. And my husband quickly realized that, look, we're a team And it's not going to be fun if one of my team members is completely overwhelmed. Like, you can't look away from that. That's the reason why I incorporate him into the vlogs, just to show people that you may never have changed a diaper in your life, but you're in this place now where it is necessary for you to step up to some of those responsibilities. And I'm glad that right now we have a system that works, where he can cook and look after the children even while I'm not there. And when I'm there, we complement each other now. So I'm just so grateful for how far we've come and the seamless arrangement we have going on.
And I'm guessing that takes a lot of communication too. And
Absolutely.
For a variety of cultures coming to Canada, things are going to look very different. And so to be able to have those open conversations, because they're tough conversations that you need to have with your partner.
Oh yeah, it wasn't instant, it wasn't overnight, but we both eventually got to the place where we have a picture of the kind of family we want to have, the kind of kids we want to raise. And it was important for both of us to see our roles in that picture. It was not like in Nigeria, where it seems like raising children is primarily the responsibility of the mom. I knew that he wanted to be a present parent. So that was already a struggle for him. Like, why do I feel like I'm getting excluded in raising my children? It seems like the expectation is on the mom. So we were already going to interrupt that pattern anyway. So coming here, it was like he now finally had the opportunity to be able to build that one-on-one relationship with our children. And we have come, that's another thing COVID has done for us. Like, we've done a lot of things together now, where it seems like we're more bonded now, because we've had to spend so much time together, and we've had to learn how to be happy by ourselves. So now we come up with activities that our children can do, that we can do. So yeah, I'm very honestly, I can't complain. I'm very grateful.
What would you give in terms of advice? And I'm going to go to the weather thing, even though we don't talk about the weather here. If you had to give some advice to newcomers who landed in May, landed in the summer, they blissfully are unaware of what is about to be exposed and landed on them in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, or any part of the province, what would be your advice for people, for newcomers?
I feel like the people who land in May are lucky because they get some time to ease into things. I feel particularly sorry for the people who land in January and in February. It's like you get tossed right into the deep end from the get-go. For the people who land in summer, enjoy it, explore, take advantage of the sun while you have it, actual sun that's hot. Take advantage of it while you have it. Enjoy, explore as much as you can, because to have 5 to 6 months of winter without being able to do let me not say fun stuff. Like, it's fun stuff for the people who are used to it. For me, coming from a country where there's no snow, I might not be particularly excited about going snow sledding. Like, I don't want to be anywhere outside if it's my first winter, So I would say enjoy the weather. There's a lot of things that you can do for fun in the summer, all the 100,000 lakes of Saskatchewan. Enjoy, before it starts to get difficult again. So I would say explore and enjoy as much as you can before it gets hard.
I love that. And last question. When you think about your future, the future for you and your family, what really inspires or excites you about looking forward?
I'm excited for the opportunities that are in the future for me. I am excited when I think about the fact that someday I'm going to look back, and be grateful that I'm going through all the things that I'm going through right now. All the work that I'm putting into school. I'm already seeing some results from my results. I've been very encouraged with the results I've been getting so far. Just knowing that all the work that I'm doing right now is eventually going to culminate into that dream that I have, that picture of myself, that picture of my career that I want to see. Just knowing that I can put in the work and see the direct result of putting in that work, that makes me glad. I think about my children, and I think about the opportunities that await them, just knowing that there's no stopping them. And that's part of why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why part of why my spouse and I are doing what we're doing, just to paint that picture that nothing is going to get handed to you. But if you put in the work, you will see the results. So it's not just going to be me telling them that if you put in the work, you see the result. They will see it in the experiences that I've had, in the successes that I've been able to accomplish, just showing them and letting them know that your dreams are valid. Anything you put your hands to, if you put your heart to it, it is possible you can see the results. Just thinking about all of that and knowing that my children will be able to access these opportunities and they can be the best versions of themselves without any glass ceilings. I'm very excited for that.
And such a beautiful example of, you and your husband portraying for them, coming to Canada, doing this difficult thing and, pushing hard and being successful, and staying in that family unit and loving each other, through it all. Thank you so much, Marina. I'm so glad I told people to bring a pen and paper because there were lots of great nuggets in there. I'm going to kick you off for just a little bit. Stay on, but you can, I'm going to share the screen again and we'll go through our presentation for career loans and then we'll bring Marina back on to questions. So get those questions ready. All right, so how can career loans help? Okay, so Career Loans is a completely virtual program to support internationally trained individuals in Saskatchewan and Alberta. The program is funded by the federal government and organized by the nonprofit organization called Achēv. We provide support through free career and financial counseling, support in accessing a microloan, as well as guiding ITIs through the process to return to their preferred career path here in Canada. Okay, so who is eligible? ITIs in regulated or non-regulated occupations and trades. And, that really encompasses a wide spectrum of jobs and industries. And we ask that you have a minimum Canadian language benchmark of a level 5, and that's just for educational purposes. Okay, so our goal is to empower internationally trained individuals in Alberta and Saskatchewan to achieve their career goals through individualized counseling, access to educational loans, and ongoing support. We know success looks differently for all of our clients, which is why we really feel strongly about providing individualized career support. We know when people are happy in their career, that translates into healthy families, communities, and the economy. Okay, so the registration process is super simple. Just visit our website online, www.careerloans.ca. There will be an application for you to fill out. That will be sent to either Venus or Cheryl, one of our information and financial counselors, and then they will get in connection with you to talk about whatever they might need in terms of educational training records or anything else like that. Okay, some of our program features. So like I said, the free career and financial counseling, which I just want to stipulate is completely separate from the microloans. So if you never access the microloan portion, you still have full access to the free career and financial counseling. So interest rate loans up to $15,000, referrals to employment services or language services, a guide to the accreditation process, and of course, advice for alternative careers. So if you were to, right after our webinar, jump off and register for career loans, you would have access to tons of great content, webinars, access to our expert counselors, Venus and Cheryl, latest industry trends in both Alberta and Saskatchewan, live guest speakers. And so just sort of to wrap up how we can help. So the one-on-one virtual counseling sessions, which are there to help you determine your career and next steps. The referrals for employment or language services, and then the microloan. So if you are interested in the microloan for educational purposes, definitely our counselors can support you in accessing that. Just a little bit more about our microloans. So again, this is completely virtual. We only have 2 branches of HSBC in the province, so Regina and Saskatoon. So if you're somewhere outside of those cities, it would be very difficult for you to maybe travel to get there. So you can access the loan online as well. Our financial partner is HSBC, and the minimum microloan amount is $1,500, maximum is $15,000. The low interest rate is fixed, so I believe that is 4.45% HSBC prime plus 2%. The loan repayment period is up to 4 years, and as I said, it's completely it's processed virtually. So eligible expenses, if there is something on here or something not on here that you're curious about, please feel free to reach out to myself. But the loan will cover any sort of credential assessments, accreditation, exam fees, bridge training, any sort of material fees, licensure fees, membership and association fees, union fees as well. Okay, so in the end, we only regret the chances we didn't take. As well, please visit us online. We have a 4.9 Google rating. Of course, you saw the video with some of our clients. And of course, please make sure that you take the survey at the very end. You'll be prompted to offer some feedback. Just some upcoming information about webinars. We have another one on Wednesday, May 19th at 12 o'clock. The supply chain careers for Canadian newcomers. And I'll just offer some contact information before we jump into the Q&A. So Alberta, Saskatchewan, and then if you want to connect with Marina on YouTube, her YouTube channel is just her name. So I'm just going to take myself off the screen share here and we'll get to your questions. Does anyone have questions? Feel free to throw them in the chat. I know I have another question for Marina. So what's going to be happening with your YouTube channel? I know as you're moving towards with your professional certification, are you still going to be providing lots and lots of content for your followers?
Oh, absolutely. YouTube is here to stay. Like, it's always going to be my baby, right? So no matter how busy I get, the videos will always be, I'll always have videos going. As I begin to advance in my career, I think it would, the ultimate goal is to get it to become like a full-blown settlement kind of service, where beyond just the information that I provide on YouTube, I would have opportunities to provide like one-on-one coaching with people, support with settling into life here. Like, you never know how big a relief it is just to know that I'm landing in this new country, and when I get off the plane, there's somebody waiting to pick me up at the airport. There's somewhere for me to lay my head today. There'll be a warm meal for me today. So that's what I'm looking at. Sometime in the future, I'll be able to offer full packages of settlement services for newcomers. So YouTube will always be there. Like, it will always be.
So it's sort of evolving into more.
It will evolve,
okay,
but it's not going to be replaced. So it will be there. Yeah.
What does your family think of this, watching from Nigeria, seeing you move to Canada, obviously probably not having any sort of idea that, you were going to be a YouTube sensation? What is their opinion of this? What do they think?
So my family and my friends back in Nigeria were also part of the reason why I went on YouTube, because I had these people who, they were genuinely worried for me, because my husband and I were professionals, so we're doing very well. Like, you don't just get up from that and go. Like, where are you going to start from? So it was, first of all, what is this province that nobody can pronounce? What is this place? Because before I came here, it's Toronto and Calgary, and I don't know anywhere else. So I had people who would ask, like, what is this province you live in? We can't pronounce it. We hear it's all snow there. What do you eat? Do you find food? Nigerian kind of food. So YouTube was also a way of me showing them that I'm alive. I'm eating Nigerian food. Everything is okay here. So people didn't really understand what I was doing until my sisters would call me and say, hey, I went to make my hair, and these two ladies were talking randomly about this person they watch on YouTube, and they were talking about you. So for them, it's hitting home now, like, wait, strangers are talking, and it's my sister they're talking about. For the professionals who are in the pool or interested in moving to Canada, it just seems like somebody knows somebody that knows somebody who watches my videos. And to them, it's like bragging rights now. Oh, I know her, she's my sister. But that's just very interesting to see blow up like that.
Totally. I have a question here from Alabisi. Hopefully I said that right. Hi, Marina. At what point did you decide to switch from customer service to HR? What was your main motivation behind this career choice?
Okay, so that switch actually happened in Nigeria. I was customer service for a very short time. I realized that as a person, I'm very motivated by people. I draw a lot of energy from people. So I did very well with customer service. And I find that I was always in a position where people wanted to talk to me about things. And I almost always just found out that I had what to say to them. So it seemed like beyond just drawing energy from people, I almost always had answers to the questions that came to me. And then I thought about, is there a career path where I can put this thing that's a personal strength to me? Can this actually become a career path? If I know what to say to people to put square pegs in square holes, what do they call a profession that can do that? That's where the curiosity for HR came in. So I took some certifications online, applied for internal HR openings with the organization that I was working with. And thankfully, an opening came up and I was able to fit into that role. And I excelled on that job, like on that role in HR. At some point, I got awarded most valuable player in the entire country, where it was Nigeria, Ghana, Uganda in the same region.
Wow.
You know, so I knew that it was something that I had the knack for. I had my major strengths were emphasized in HR. So that's where that career transition took place.
I love that. This question is from Sonia. Marina, what are 2 tips for an internationally trained professional who is stuck in a survival job and wants to get back into their career?
Oh, I know how difficult it can be, because the first time where you come here, your primary drive is to be able to pay the bills, which is very understandable. And I know that that's the reason why a lot of internationally trained professionals get into survival jobs. Now, there's nothing wrong with survival jobs, right? It just totally now boils back to you and what your plan is. What is the long-term plan? What's the goal for yourself? You know, if you put that goal in front of you, it would give you like a mental picture of how long you should be on a survival job. And thankfully, we now have organizations like Career Loans that can help you make that transition. So if you're already stuck in a career, in a survival job, and you're looking for how to get out, your first step will be to look for career counseling. It's available and it's free. So it's not something that's going to cost you anything. Find an organization like Career Loans. I totally recommend for you to talk to somebody. Just tell them, what are your goals? How do you intend to transition from where you are right now? And what does the road look like to get you from where you are to where you want to go? And then determine the next steps from there. More than half the time, additional education may be required, depending on the education and the experience you already have and the goal that you have for yourself. So if that's the case, and you have where you can get free counseling, you have where you can get a loan to pay for that education for you to go back to school and take that financial burden off you, why not? Like, take advantage of the resources that are available to you. And the earlier you make that move, the better, because the longer you stay on a survival job, the more difficult it becomes to leave. So the earlier you can act, the better.
Yeah, I think that's one thing too, that maybe some people don't know, that once you are in Canada for a certain while, your credentials are no longer necessarily recognized. So the earlier you move forward, the better. This question is from Amika, and are there good career opportunities for dental technologists in Saskatchewan? I am an instructor in the field currently in Nigeria, working in the faculty. Okay, so my suggestion to you, Amika, would be to connect. Well, first, just to do your own research, check to see what jobs are available in Saskatchewan. Just do a simple search and sort of go from there. If it's not Saskatchewan, you may want to look to see if Alberta, if there are more jobs. And just see. I don't know that information off the top of my head, but I would just say, do your own research before you come here.
Exactly.
Another, how do you transition as a newcomer to a totally different profession in Canada? Example, an accountant to nursing. So again, that question, I would recommend connecting with Cheryl or Venus and talking to them about what your goals are. So my answer to that would be to, register for the Career Loans program if you're a permanent resident, convention refugee, or Canadian citizen, and have Venus or Cheryl support you in figuring that out and what the best decision is for you.
Absolutely. And just to add a little to that, Candice, for a career switch like that, you are definitely going to need additional education. So the earlier you can get career counseling and then start to make plans towards taking additional education. If it's something you can pay for it. But if it's something you can't pay for, like Career Loans is there. So take advantage of the counseling. And if you need to get the loans, do the application if you qualify. You definitely need additional education. That's a given.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Cassie, hi Marina, thank you for the great work that you do. Does prior experience from home country count in the new life in Saskatchewan, Canada? So I think we could probably tag team that question. So I think prior experience does matter. Education, depending on the job, though, and like Marina has, continuously said, you might need to come back or come into Canada, and depending on what your goals are or what you're wanting to achieve, what your career is, you might need some level of bridge training or upgradation.
Exactly. Totally agree with that. Previous experience, I find, is more valuable than previous education, like you've said, Candice, because there are skills that you can transfer. Like if you're going to work in whatever industry, problem solving, analytical thinking, proper communication, those are skills that will be valuable anywhere, regardless of the country. So it depends on the skills that you have built in that experience and how much of that skill you can transfer to the Canadian workplace. So yes, I find that in some cases, previous experience counts. Like there are some professions that will be the same regardless of where you are, like IT. IT is IT everywhere, so it's easier to transfer experience in a field like that to the Canadian workplace. But there are other professions where you need to learn Canada-specific ways of doing those things. So while your experience counts, additional training to understand how it applies to like the core Canadian workplace is required. So depends on the field.
Absolutely. Another question here, please, is it possible to get a PR after graduating with a diploma from a college in Canada? I'm not an expert in that. Certainly, I don't know, Marina, do you know?
I can speak a little to that.
Okay.
So if you're looking to come here as an international student, the beginning is to make sure that you're applying to a school and a program that qualifies for the postgraduate work permit program. So you do not go straight from international student to PR. There's a process in between. So if you apply to a school and a course that qualifies for postgraduate work permit program, you will be able to apply for that work permit after the completion of your program. And then after you have worked for like a minimum duration, I think in most provinces, in Saskatchewan is about 6 months, in some other places like 12 months. If you work for up to 12 months, then you qualify to apply for PR. I've made a video about that on my channel, so you might want to take a look and check out that video. The information you need, you will find on there.
This is why I'm so happy that you're here with me, because I can't even answer some of these questions. How long can you spend with career loans before you get your first job? Well, so we don't do employment services. That question is hard to answer because we're not in the area of employment services. We support internationally trained individuals get back into their preferred career path. So I'm sorry I can't answer that a little bit better, but depending on what your career goals are and sort of education and where you are in the world, a lot of things come into play when you're considering getting a job here in Canada. So anything else? I have some people here talking about your iconic laugh, which I agree, I love your laugh. So
my subscribers, they talk about it all the time. That'll make me conscious.
I want to say a huge thank you to Marina for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. It was such a pleasure to connect with you and to hear your laugh and to learn your story. And I'm addicted to your YouTube videos. I know a lot of the Career Loans team are as well. So I really appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Thank you. Thank you. Such a pleasure to be here. Thank you all for having me. And thank you everyone who joined in.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining us today. Make sure you visit our website. And of course, if you want to learn more about Marina, you can visit her Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. I'll get you to say is it just your name, Marina Esiri?
Marina Esiri.
Okay.
That's what I'm on YouTube.
Follow her.
Yeah.
You'll
and
love
everywhere
her videos.
else I am at Marina_Esiri.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And we will see you here again sometime soon on the next webinar. Thanks, Marina.
Thank you.